Welcome to Code Creative. I'm Travis Tolson.
And I'm
And with me tonight,
Sarah Tolson.
Sarah. uh,
This is what happens when you give me control of things, sir.
yeah, that is the way it goes.
Yep. But anyway, so tonight is session 2, working on
Hmm?
the Mothership application that you did in your awesome knowledge lab.
Yep. So we're gonna pick up where we left off last time, where we were building out the data model for this game slash app. Um, and so if
And
we
hopefully we can get through the data model tonight. That's the goal, right?
That's what I'm hoping to. So if I can pop up where we left off here. We have already created our ship set, ship and ship cell, which is basically it's basically representative of your game pieces in the game. And then we've created the game record, which is the instance of a game with two players playing against one another. And so now we have to create kind of the rest of this data model, which, let's see, looks kind of something like this roughly. I'm making some changes from the original model. Some of these changes are on the fly. So we'll see how that plays out. And that's just, based on my experience the first time around, I've kind of mentally made some notes on changes that I wanted to make to the application if I were to rebuild it, which now we are. So let's get started. So we've got this game record here. And the next bit that I need off the game record. Oh, hi, Jace. How's it going? So then let's see. All right. So the next table we need off of this is going to be our player table. And this is not going to be a replacement for sysuser, which in the original data model, it kind of was. But I'm not going to do that this time around. This time around, it's just going to represent a user who is currently playing in a game. Committed. I was just noticing what Chase was saying in the comments. It committed 600 plus updates to my scope tab. Oh my.
That
checks out.
Yeah, that checks out. And we feel bad for you.
So I don't want a module on this one. I do need a reference to the game. To the game record that we've got. And I do need the sysuser reference.
So why are you changing things up? What problems did you see with the way that you did it originally?
So basically one of the main issues in the logic that I was running into. So originally I had a reference field on the game table for player 1 and player 2. And the problem that I was running into was that neither the game engine nor the UI really, they knew who was playing, but they didn't know if that person was player 1 or player 2. So like in the game engine logic, every time a player issued a command, the game engine logic had to be like, okay, if this person is player 1, do this. If this person is player 2, do that. And so like in order to switch who who had the current turn, it was like, okay, well, if you're player one, then it's now player two's turn. If you're player two, then it's player one's turn. And it just like
That sounds messy.
a lot of the game logic ended up having to do these sorts of checks. And it seemed like the logic would be a lot easier if I got rid of that particular setup.
What do you
So
always
I'm
tell
gonna.
me when it comes to like machinery? Fewer parts, the more simple the machine, the less stuff there is that can break.
Mm-hmm. And
I feel like that jives here.
and then I need an is ready checked so that the user can, after the user has placed all their ships, they will mark that they are ready to play the game. Um, and for now, I think that'll do for this table. And then I'm going to do my usual tracking. You can do whatever you want as long as I know about it. Add, ooh, that's not who should be. I'm going to have to check that.
Your
It
role
should
is
be
not what
creating
it
for
should be.
Mothership admin, not for regular admin.
Mm.
Yeah, Jace, absolutely. I actually had considered that when I decided to go with this player table. I had considered the fact that this could actually be a 3, 4, uh, to your point, a hard mode version of the game. Let's see. So I wanted to check the settings because it should be listing the
Just another
Mothership
way.
admin. Why is that? That's not right at all. Mothership admin.
Just another way. The way you're building this gives you a little more freedom than your traditional game that we're basing this off of.
Mm-hmm. And now I actually have to go back and check some of my ACLs here because they may be pointed at the wrong user role. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I will need to elevate my roles because I have to make some changes to the security model. Hopefully not too many. Okay. All right, let's go through these and update. That's unfortunate because that's going to slow me down a bit.
So Jace pointed out that this is V2. So if that's the case, was your first one like beta? And if so, does that make your lab attendees the beta testers?
I don't even know that the version that was in the lab could qualify for alpha.
It worked. It counted.
Um, let's see. Which table is this?
Alpha testers. There you go.
I'm gonna try and. That's not the one I want. I
I am
want this.
struggling tonight. So your role didn't apply it didn't apply the correct role before. Now you're having to go back and make sure that all the roles are using the right or all the ACLs are using the right role.
Yes. So I'm trying to do this in batch. So I'm trying to get the right. That's the table I want right there. Is the sys security ACL role. So basically, um, when you create an ACL, you can apply certain roles to it. And for whatever reason, um, I had selected admin instead of the mothership admin. So I would like to update these in batch. So what I can do is I can go to that particular table, run it in batch, and all these guys that are admins, I can quickly update all of them in one shot and move on with the program.
So how do we prevent this from happening in the first place?
Basically, when you open up your application settings, you select the correct role in this user role field, and then it works properly. I had originally set admin here instead of Mothership admin. So I fixed that just a moment ago. So now all of our records are updated. All right, so now we've got our player record on the game. The next thing that I will need is the game cell. So that's each cell in the game board.
More
Um,
tables.
let's see. Don't need to extend it. Don't need modules for it. This is all going to be related lists off of the game record. And so we need the game as a reference. I need the the player, because each player has their own board. So A1 is not going, A1 for player one is different from A1 for player two. Oops, wrong one. Sys user.
It's been a long day.
Storing the game board state is always interesting. Yeah, it's tough to find the right balance on what state to store, what state to not store. What can you um uh I forget the term. Derive. What state can you derive in the UI? Um, Last time I actually had a game ship um, table and then a game ship cell table. Um, but in this go around, I actually want to represent all the game cells. So that way, if a user fires on a particular cell, um, we can record the misses as well as the ships that are there. Let's see. So game player. Uh, row
I'm sitting
as
here
an
talking on
integer.
mute. Jace is
Huh?
trying not to distract, but I'm loving this interaction. He wonders if you considered the current design storing each turn as an artifact.
Yes, actually. So basically, interfer. Basically, in the, and I don't know how well this will show up um, on the smaller screens, but there's a game command and a game um, event table. So basically, players issue commands, and the command is handled by the game engine, and the game engine generates game events based off of the game commands. And so, in a sense, the game event is your turn taken. Um, Game command is the I as a player would like to take a turn, and then the game engine determines if that's acceptable or not. Can that turn be taken? Is it a valid move? And if everything checks out, what are the results of it? And once the game engine has computed all of that, it generates a game event and says, this is what happened. So, player row column. Is there a ship? Reference. Oops, that's actually not it.
Oh, I like that idea. You could even enact acts of God and drop in Godzilla.
Drop in Godzilla.
So from that standpoint, because it's a space themed thing, you've got to have like some kind of ship that comes in and like has a chance of like blasting your stuff away.
Actually, I need to change this one to. I'm going to call this a hit marker. And I'm going to update this to a choice field. So originally I had just is hit, but I actually want to be able to track the hit marker overall on it. That way I can track hits and misses. That way, if a player tries to shoot a cell that they've already fired upon, the game engine can say, no, try again. um,
Do you need to put a miss marker in there too?
no, because the
Oh, it's the choice of the hit or the miss.
right. So that'll be a three-way option: none, hit, or miss. Um, mm, mm, mm. Kind of working through some of the changes in my head here. So is there a ship there? If so, what is the hit marker on it? I think that's all I need. Game player, row, column, ship, hit marker. Mm, no, there is one other thing that I need. That I will need to track. Um, ship image, which is going to be a reference to our DB image controls admin. And we'll also add a label. String max length 255. And we'll make that display true. And that should do it for this one. That should give me everything I need to track the game cell states. Mm, 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 mm.
Okay, so then what else do we have left on here? There's a lot of.
All right.
Wait, Jay says you put 255 in an empty row.
Did I?
Yeah. He's making sure you're like legit.
Yeah, it seems so.
For game cell.
Thank you, Jace.
Nice.
All right,
I'm
there we
glad
go.
he's
That's
on
better.
top of this because I'm tired and I'm struggling just to keep up with the chat tonight.
And apparently, I also missed I put display on the wrong field too, or on the wrong row as well. There we go. All right, let's see. All right, so now that I've got a couple of those done, let me make sure that I didn't add any. Should just be game and. Yep, okay. Still just games and ship sets. I'm going to come in here. We'll configure related list. And we'll add game cells and players. All right. All right, so next we need the game command table.
And this is kind of the one that holds it all together. Is this the one that does that?
Kind of, yeah. This is the this table is the one that allows players to issue commands to the game. So um, basically, there's you've got the create game command, actually, I think I consolidated it to join game. So there's join game, place ship, leave game, take turn. Those are the different commands that you can issue. Um, and there's also one other thing I have to remember to do. We'll get there. Um,
Are we there yet?
Not yet. All right. So for game command, we need a game reference.
And you need a person reference for who gave the command.
Correct. So player.
You need a type of command. Right?
Yep.
I'm guessing. I do not have your little sheet in front of me.
I'm going to call that the command field, and that's going to be a choice list. All right. So then, and actually, my documentation on the server data model was actually the V1 of the data model. And then there was a V2 of the data model that actually went into the lab, which I did not document. Silly me. So this is actually V3 of the data model.
I like how you have undocumented changes in your lab that people are doing. I wonder how many labs are like along these lines. Probably most
Well, I
of
mean,
them.
hopefully most of the people doing labs are not doing it for their first time ever and making every mistake and wrong decision on the path to it as possible. All right, so
You
join
did
game.
you I mean not that I was there, but you did great.
Join game just needs the player. Place ships needs the ship that we are placing.
And the location? Would that also go in here? Or does the reference to the ship like take care of that?
No, probably not. Um, hmm. All right, so we're going to place a ship, coordinate X. We'll need a coordinate Y. And we'll need a direction, which will also be a choice.
For when the ship is north, south, east, west.
Yeah, so like the way that I did this before was when you place a ship, it can be basically when you place a ship, you place it on a specific cell and then it extends into other cells. So basically, you've got like a head cell, and then the direction is what direction is the tail pointing? Is it
Yeah.
pointing down? Is it pointing right? Is it pointing up? Is it pointing left? And based on that information combined with the ship cell table, I could compute what cells that ship occupies on the board.
Jace asks or mentions the location is interesting.
Hmm.
It has to say starts at this cell and in this it has to do both.
Yes, exactly. And so that's what the coordinate X, coordinate Y, and the direction or orientation will encompass. Then that should cover everything for place ship. Then you've got the take turn, which the take turn will be coordinate X and coordinate Y, because that's the cell that you're firing on. And I think that will cover. Oh, I need order. Or no, I didn't do order. What did I do? Um, or I did order, but I did it as a. What was it?
I wish I could help you.
There is a field type. For like a high precision time or a timestamp or
Oh, really?
um
Jace wants you to describe the field type.
so the field type is essentially a high precision date time field. Um it basically records it down to like microsecond or something like that. Like it gives you a specific ordering of the field.
So, would a number
Um,
field work for that, or you're looking for something more specific?
so I could potentially use an order field, and I could just like compute what order it is. That's an option I could choose.
I caught that pop culture reference. And if the audience doesn't, it's probably a good thing.
Um,
Works for me.
mm, field types.
Yeah, there's a page where it lists all of them.
Ah, I missed the F key. Date, time, duration.
I'd be curious to know of all the devs out there, how much of their day is spent looking at code or something like this.
Mm.
Dum dum dum. It's not documented.
Let me see if I can find it in the list. This will be document ID, due date, field name, floating point, geo point, date, date time, duration, time, UTC time. Is it insert timestamp?
That sounds.
Integer, IP, journalist,
Is it on any out of box table?
reference, name value pair, image, video, wiki, workflow. So one way to look this up is sysdictionary.list,
It feels like cheating.
and I can see where insert timestamp is used. Okay, insert timestamp field may be used to reliably sort the system log.
Did you find the community article?
That's the one I was looking for.
Yep.
So basically, in general, because these commands should be issued by people, I should not have to worry too much about rapid fire commands. So, like the resolution the time resolution of this field type should work.
BRB, I got some reconnaissance I have to do.
So that insert timestamp, I think, is the one I'm going to go with. I will change that to recorded at, because if I do end up needing an order field, I don't want it occupied by my timestamp. Yeah, Jace, I only recently discovered, in fact, I discovered this field type while building this application the first time. This was a new field type that I had discovered, and it appears to be useful for system log, uh, system log like time resolution. So very high precision time. Now, if you have like an external system that's like generating thousands of records per millisecond, it may not be able to resolve down to each, individual one. Like you'll have to evaluate this specific field type to see if the resolution is at the level of accuracy you need, but I'm pretty sure that this is like the highest resolution that you can get in ServiceNow. So, um, let's see. That should do it. I think that covers the game command table. The game, the player who's issued it, what command it is, and then a couple details pertaining to the payload data surrounding it. Initially, I just put a payload field with JSON, but I found that by breaking the payload up into its actual constituent parts, I actually found that Flow Designer was much easier to work with. And I actually made fewer errors. Like initially, I tried to use a payload field and do everything in scripts. And I actually found that I was able to operate faster under Flow Designer, which really threw me off. I wasn't expecting it, but I was trying to move so fast that I was typing before my brain had fully formed thoughts. And so I was making a lot of errors in the scripts. And I ended up rebuilding the entire thing in Flow Designer faster than it was coming together in the scripts. It was really funny.
Really interesting that you started it with JSON payload, because I feel like so much of UI Builder is JSON payloads.
Hmm.
But that ended up not being the thing you needed there.
Yeah, I felt like my instinct is always to go to code first. I have far more experience with code than I have with low code situations. Um, so my instinct was that a JSON payload field would be much faster for me to build out. But the amount of error checking that I was having to do, or the amount of data type checking and logging and debugging and everything that I was having to do actually made the low code work faster. It really took me off guard because that was one thing that I did not expect low code to give me, especially with how many years of experience I have at JavaScript and how many years of experience I have at Flow Designer. I was not expecting it, but I was pleasantly surprised.
It's I don't get over to that side of things often in my day to day, but when I have got to mess with it, I've been really impressed by how intuitive it is.
Game
This is my new favorite thing right here. Low code situations.
sys user sys sewer. And I mean, as I'm typing this stuff out, you can see my keyboard error rate on full display as I mistype every single field name as I go through this.
That's like anybody that's trying to code or do anything on this platform while you have a camera on you. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Best people on the platform or not, you're going to make a zillion more mistakes when somebody's watching.
To be fair, off camera, I am as bad, if not worse. And I have statistical metrics from every keyboard test I've ever taken that has told me how bad I am at typing.
That's accurate. For the longest time, I've kind of lorded over you the fact that you may be better at scripting, but I can type really fast.
I had one evaluator that looked at me at the end and was like, "How is it that you make so many errors while typing fewer than 25 words per minute? At that speed, you shouldn't make errors." I was like, "This is just a skill, I guess."
Now, if everybody knew about your old habits with using the windowed mode on your laptop and stuff like that, it'd really blow their minds.
Oh yeah, like
Get anything done.
I make lots of bad decisions when it comes to being efficient at my job. Um Game command. We still want the recorded at field. And that's going to be the insert timestamp.
Well, there it is. I love that we found a new variable that we can use.
Is my lab on now learning? Yeah,
We don't know. I did not see it when I went looking at the knowledge content. I did not see it, but it
mine
might be
mine did not get recorded. Part of that was probably just because of how god awful I was at turning anything in on time. Like, they should have canceled my lab.
It
I'm
wasn't
glad that they
totally your
didn't
fault though.
because like, I got it together by the end with lots of support and but like, I was down to the wire on it. So like, there was no chance to actually record it, or like, I didn't even end up having the gurus or helpers. Like, I'm not even sure that ServiceNow was aware that I was still having a lab. I think we all reached a point where we thought it was not going to happen.
Well, that's a good question. So,
Um,
what is the plan? Um,
I don't have a plan when this version is done yet. I don't know.
that's future Travis's problem.
It is. Like, step 1 was to build this out, compare it to Service Portal, see how it goes, and then I don't know, maybe I rewrite the lab and it either goes on Now Learning or on Code Creative, whichever. Like, I don't know. I don't have a plan. Um, okay, so then we need to track the event, which is going to be a choice list. Then I need, and that's going to be the event that happened. So basically, where the command is join game, the game event will be player joined. And then similarly, we're going to need uh we're going to need basically all the same information here. Coordinate x, integer. And basically, the running idea here is that obviously I cannot have both players able to see the entire game state. Like, that would be bad if people could just do a rest call to find out where their opponent's ships were. um, so I have in the original design, the game event table, basically the UI was going to monitor the game event table and it was going to get all of its information to update its state from game event table, and players were primarily going to be able to see that. I don't know if I'm going to go back. I ended up scrapping that idea because I wanted the lab to be able to show some more things, but um, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Direction, choice. Let's see. Coordinate X, coordinate Y, direction. And then we've got a few other things that have to go into it. Let's see. Ship sunk. So because this is the result, we actually have to include some additional data in terms of what happened.
To determine, like you're doing there, if the ship sunk or if it gives them the game win.
Pretty much.
Jake on this one. How many more tables do we need?
This should be the last one.
It's a lot of tables, but it keeps the data very concise.
So I need to know if they're actually, I just need is hit on this one. True, false, if it is a hit. Well, no, we'll keep it consistent. Hit marker, choice, chios, whatever. Chase says, I feel like Travis is a carpenter. Too many tables.
I mean, you do some woodwork, and I pointed out in the chat that he should see the drawers that you built in our garage last week. They're pretty sweet.
Winner reference. Yeah, I'm enjoying that little build out.
In your vain attempt to curtail my chaotic, just throw everything in the garage and it'll magically find its way to a drawer.
Eventually, I'm going to 5S all of it, and I'm going to shadow board all of my tools, and things will have proper spots, and they will go in their spots, and I will be happy.
And will I put any of it back in its spot?
No. If it even makes it back into the garage, into the vague vicinity of where it's supposed to go,
we're doing really good.
We're doing good. Is hit. I think that's it. I think that's all we need.
So is that the whole data model all in place on time?
Doubt it. I'm sure there's stuff I'm missing. Like, this is just... Oh, bugger. I wanted to...
What are you trying to decide on?
Well, I was going to give them numbers and such, but I'll auto number later if I choose it. Mm-hmm. Every tool is, in fact, a hammer.
Drawers are indeed a place to lose things. As someone with ADHD, like, I try very hard not to put things in drawers because that's where things go to die.
This is why you shadow board your drawers. Then everything's happy.
But I don't open drawers.
That just means that you can't find and take my tools.
No, what I want
And
to
then they
do is I
stay in
want to
their
get
happy place.
that really thick high density foam and like cut out the shapes of the tool so everything
Yeah.
has like a little yes.
Yes, shadowboarding.
Oh, is that what that's officially called?
Technically, I think shadowboarding typically is when you spray paint the silhouette on the board, but in my mind, shadowboarding um, encompasses all of the different ways of leaving a silhouette of the tool so that the tool goes back to its right spot.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm with Jace on this one. I didn't know that was shadowboarding. And I like sat and watched you do all the 5S stuff.
Yeah, so when I was in the Marine Corps, I earned the nickname Airspeed Guru. Airspeed was our program for Lean Six Sigma, and I became super obsessed. I'm still super obsessed with it. I love Lean Six Sigma stuff. Mm. I like that when I need to find things, I know exactly where they are. Makes me happy.
And I live my life to make sure that's not the case.
This is accurate.
Ah. Jace wants to know what Lean Six Sigma is, but you only have 14 minutes to finish your data model and explain it, so you have to give him the short version.
So, Lean and Six Sigma are two different process improvement methodologies. So, Lean is essentially a derivative of the Toyota production system, and it encompasses a lot of organizational methods for production floors, organizing tools, having cleaning stations, co-locating your the right tools in the right place so that they can be used at the right time. So it is all about putting the right stuff in the right place at the right time for manufacturing and production. Six Sigma is a process control methodology that leverages statistics in order to calculate your level of process control in terms of their standard deviation from the mean. So essentially, if you have really good process control, then you have a very low standard deviation for whatever metrics you're measuring out. Basically, you don't deviate from the mean much. You hit the same target over and over again.
You're consistent, and it goes as quick. Like you're making most efficient use of time and things like that.
So I will add game command and game event to the thing. I do want to change up a couple things here. Let's see. Game recorded at. Yeah, this is all hot garbage. So we're going to form builder this and fix it.
Put all the fields in the right place.
Yes, they need to be in the right place. Like, how is coordinate X up here and coordinate Y there? That doesn't make sense, like, at all.
I wish more
X,
people paid attention to
coordinate
form
Y,
design.
ship. Command needs to go up higher. Direction should go down below ship. We'll put coordinate X on this side, coordinate Y on this side. I'll probably end up improving this. I don't know. Maybe player should go game, player, command, coordinate X, coordinate Y, ship, direction. There we go. Standard fields, payload. I like that. That feels good.
Good UX feels good. I just said in the chat, dude, this is like one of the most overlooked parts of UX on this platform, I swear. Like Me and my compatriots in Portal World will, be doing Portal, but I have mentioned to more than one client and internal teams and everything, like making sure that this form, that this conversation you're having with the user is in line and easy to read and get through. That is just as important as any other choice we're making. There's a book that I love about forms. Where did I put it? Because I read it and I learned all the things and I put it away.
Okay, so that concludes the game command table. Then, and I need to update this list view over here too, because that can't be. Configure list layout. Command, game, player, coordinate X, coordinate Y, ship. Go something like that. Game events. Configure, form builder. Game. All right, game, player, recorded at, event, recorded at, game command, coordinate X, coordinate Y. I will end up needing another field there, I think, because or maybe we can just change the name of that one.
Are you having trouble maintaining good form?
Yes.
That was bad. I should go to bed now.
I'm going to switch something up, add a field in the table. Now, this does need to be on there. Hit marker, ship sunk, winner. And I do need to add a new one, though, for the place ship. And then I need to add choices. Let's see.
Look at you using another low-code tool.
Huh?
I said, look at you using another low-code tool.
Yeah, I'm getting comfortable with them. Game created, player joined, player left. Ship replaced. Ship place failed. Turn taken. And turn taken failed. I don't know. Can I get rid of these? Delete choice. delete choice. We'll just call it error, and I'll add other error information in there maybe.
There you go. That's a good start. I figure we can always come back to this and edit it like as we need to, because there's always those edge cases and there's little details that you're going to forget. It's like when I'm doing a theme in the portal, ideally you want to set up your theme first, but there's always going to be crap you have to end up going back to.
I'm gonna make choices about the additional events when I get there. The error events I'll choose when I get there. Like
Future
these
crap.
ones I know. These ones I know, they're core to the application. All right, that'll do. And then configure list layout.
So you're pretty much
Sure.
done. You're just like configuring things to be a little better to deal with.
Yeah. Game player, game command, event, coordinate X, coordinate Y, ship, direction, hit marker, ship sunk, winner, save.
So once the tables are made, can we both start working on the look and feel, or is this going to be peanut gallery comments while we watch? I'm a professional peanut gallery commenter. Thank you. I believe this is going to be mostly Travis putting this together, but after this initial setting up the data model, what did we say we were moving on to next? A lot of the flow logic, isn't it?
Yeah, flow designer and game engine itself is going to come next. Basically, the flow designer will handle the commands. Um, the and will basically comprise the game engine itself. Now, I do have to do a little bit of thinking because there was an issue that I ran into in the last version. Um, Basically, flows are multi-threaded. Like multiple flows can fire at the same time. So obviously, if you're processing game commands, that's a bad thing. You only want to process one command at a time. So I've got to do a little bit of thinking around how that's going to work. But I have until next Monday to figure that out. Now, I will also add that like our ACLs are very flimsy right now. Like at the moment, they only support the game admin role. Um, we do technically need to add a player role and build out the security model that allows players to see the relevant pieces that they need to see. Um, which initially will probably just be game event because I'm thinking I'm going to drive this in the original version. Like the players would be able to query the game record and the game cells, and there was a lot of logic around being able to query that stuff. Um, but I don't know. I may just drive it all off of the game event table this time to try and push more of the push a little bit more of the logic to the client side. It'll also help speed up the game overall. The game won't be as slow as it was last time. Um, let's see. Let me do a little bit more cleanup here on a couple of other things.
All that boring stuff that we all have to do, but they're details that get overlooked more often than they should.
Games.
And once we get the the original from the lab built out and go through all the little pieces and parts. I like some of what uh some of the suggestions we're getting here. List of different modes, and we can work through extending it for like Godzilla
Yeah.
mode, real time mode.
Game game commands will be 300. And game events will be 400. Yeah, so in the original data model, and I did not implement this in the lab version, but I did have mode as something that you could select for that reason. Um, and basically, initially, it was just going to support like a player versus player and player versus computer. Because I was actually planning on building out like a simple game engine AI for the computer. Well, I guess you can't really use the term AI for that anymore because it's not AI as we now use it.
Not for real
Um,
AI.
Computer player. Um, mm, mm, mm. All right, so I think this is going to do it for tonight. This gets us through the data model. Let's see. Let me make sure I don't have any other. Let's see. We populated the. I think there might be a couple of other choice fields I need to populate. Let me make sure I get all of them. Direction. Up. Down. Left. Right. Hit marker. Hit or miss. And with none. Reference. All right, save that. Just trying to make sure I've buttoned up everything I need to button up before calling tonight done. Figure form builder. Direction. Up. Down. Left. Right. Got all that set. All right. The only other thing I can think of was there's a choice field on the player table. That's not what I wanted. And I'll probably have a bit to tweak over time as we're going through. I'm just trying to make sure I've got most of it done. Game user is ready. Maybe not. Maybe
That
we'll
looks
just.
good.
Yeah, I think that about covers it. Um,
I mentioned in the chat that while you're going to go to the game engine next, one thing I will do just because I am more familiar with and more comfortable with the UI creation is I'll do a lot of the work to create the UI, the HTML, the CSS, things like that, and it'll help give me a framework for what logic I need and where it's going and everything. But you're working the other way. We typically see this kind of stuff put together where you make all the guts work and then you just have to kind of put the UI on and snap everything together. Do you prefer to do the logic first or the UI first?
Me?
Yeah, you. I
Um,
guess this might be a little different than in Service Portal because the experiences are not nearly as enmeshed.
so I typically prefer to build for something like this, I prefer to build the logic first, then the front end. Um, because the logic is very complicated. Like there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Um, game event.
What?
Hmm?
I got a dog over here. I'm going to sell him on eBay. He's fussing at me. What? No. You gotta wait.
0, 1. Actually, I think I've got that flipped. Yeah, I want hit to be 1. Or hit to be 0 rather. Hmm.
What? Come here. Come here. Come here. I'm going to show you.
All right.
Come here.
So there we go. I think that covers it for today. So, as always, we are going to commit our changes to the Git repository that we set up the first time. Completed data model. There we go. All right. So once that hits 100%,
That wraps that up.
that wraps that up. And there we go. Yeah. So, with as complicated as this particular application is, you know, it's not simply a matter of glide record update. Like, it's not just oh, hey, I'm going to turn around and query this record and update it and I'm done. In this, you issue a command. That command has to be validated. The game engine has to check to see, is this a valid command? Because invalid commands can create problems in the game state. And then your UI looks broken, but isn't. So when I'm dealing with something like this, with the level of complexity and the logic, I like to build that logic out first.
Make sure it's working and all the little pieces and parts are copacetic because you don't
Right.
want to deal with intertwining complex logic problems with your UI and trying to figure out which part's broken.
Right. And I mean, inevitably, there are going to be problems. Inevitably, when we reach the UI, we will find some issues. But if it's anything like my first time through this, those issues will be small, quickly identified, and quickly remedied. Um, and the less time spent jumping from UI to backend to UI, the more accurate the how long did this take on UI Builder will be. It'll be easier to record that, calculate that, and let's be honest. Anytime you have to context switch, it costs you time. It slows you down. Um, for that reason, I'm considering doing the Service Portal version first.
I'm very game for that.
Just because the context switching won't hurt my effectiveness in Service Portal near as much as it will in UI Builder.
You just open and close the little window, and that's all you have to do.
Hmm?
I said you just open and close the little window. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I can keep Service Portal stuff organized in my mind a lot easier than UI Builder. Like, I have a lot of experience with Service Portal and only a little bit with UI Builder. So that makes things a lot easier, and it makes interruptions in my flow less impactful. I can recover from it more quickly. Whereas on UI Builder, if something interrupts my flow on UI Builder, like it's going to take me a few minutes. It's going to take me 5 to 10 minutes just to like get back into that groove again.
Yeah.
So I may do the service portal one first just to get all the kinks worked out and then go from there. Of course, first we have to build that back end game engine. So
that'll be next time.
Are y'all going to see if you can pull in Tilton or Gabby in case we need to phone another expert?
I think that's a friggin' stellar idea. Let me and Gabby be there to assist you.
I was thinking more Brad, but
because he won't gang up on you with me.
I don't think I will get anything done with both of you in the same room.
That's
whenever you two get
accurate.
together, I just end up feeling broken. Just perpetually broken.
No. In a professional capacity, in all reality, it would be nice to have either of them kind of available, and then they can speak to some of the things about UI Builder that kind of fall outside the scope of what we're building, but are relevant to this kind of app development on the platform.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, though. I'd definitely be game to bring them into it. I mean, I end up phoning Brad all the time anyway. Brad, I broke UI Builder again. What do I do?
There were quite a few of those. But, all right, I think we're ready to close this chapter out.
Yep, I think.
Any last words on data models and stuff like that?
What's that?
I said, any last words on data models or stuff like that? Because I got to get this water that the dog's tail knocked over onto my desk up.
Oh, great. No, I mean, like I said, there's still a little bit that has to be done in terms of ACLs. To a certain degree, I'm inclined to do that offline just because the notion of doing that live, I don't know how much anybody gets out of that. I don't know.
It's going through the process, I think. It's another way of familiarizing yourself with it, but
I guess we'll discuss that offline. Maybe I'll do a poll on LinkedIn and see if people want to hear me talk about ACLs.
ACLs terrify me, so I'll take all the learning I can get.
Dang it. All right. Well,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just do it live.
Just do it live.
All right. I guess I'll do it live. I guess I'll do the ACLs live and suffer. So I guess that'll probably be next time then.
Doing the ACLs and then getting into the game engine?
I don't know. Maybe I'll do Flow Designer next because all of the Flow Designer stuff is going to be using the system user anyway, and that excites me more. So I may do Flow Designer next and then wrap up with ACLs and then jump into Service Portal. That way we've got fun. Like I feel like data model's kind of boring. Like
it is boring.
It's kind of boring. So like
tables and we all know how to do tables and variables and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So like boring building tables, Flow Designer fun, ACL's boring, Service Portal fun, so UI Builder cursing but fun. We got a low code situation.
That's what you called it earlier, and I've just decided to latch onto that. I got another one for you. I got a couple I'm putting together. Because may I just note that you invited me on this, so like anything I throw at you is something that you had to have been okay with.
On some level, yes.
All right, we are past our hour mark, so I'm going to say adios. This has been fun, and looking forward to hopping into Flow Designer next time.
Yay! Thanks a lot for joining, everybody. Hope to see you next time.